Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this impromptu virtual opening of a Malady of Sorts. We hoped and planned for a face-to-face gathering of artists and guests for today to celebrate an exhibition of 16 artists with many countless works, no, 9 for each. But unfortunately, with the recent turn of events, we had to cancel it. But we're hoping and very optimistic that soon, maybe in the coming weeks, we can get together to personally look at these works. Before we begin, I'd like to thank the artists who participated in this exhibit. I'd like to thank Abby Angeles, Francis Alencayon, Dodi Begornia, Kimberly De Bunchot, Tintin Elbo, Laramie Escudero, Jade Gakuan, Jules Gomez, Ritaluwing Luna, Jana Charlene Mendoza, Roslyn Mendoza, Retz Merehilia, Oliver Aberramos, April Salva, Kelvin Taol, and The Mad Machine. This Malady of Sorts exhibit is the third installment of what we started as a series of an exhibition that explores but also questions the idea of an open theme exhibit. Like when we say it's an open theme exhibit, if we really think about it, is there really an open theme exhibit? Is there really an artwork that you don't think about? That, like anything goes. If we tell you to create works na anything goes, what usually happens is thoughtfulness takes over even more. Sometimes the subconscious or unconscious takes over in coming up with works that we may think to be ordinary, to be not exceptional, not special enough. But then when we look at the artworks, especially in the Malady of Sorts series, we witness the depth of the ordinariness of the everyday. And it pushes us to think about obsessions, maybe recurring thoughts, recurring anxieties, especially in the context of the pandemic. And in this show, you will witness in a while that the works really talked about not only isolation, but aspiration to go beyond the our confined spaces while being in our confined spaces. No, there are also um, surprising thoughtfulness in how they presented fantasies versus realities, yung mga ganong contradictions. And also, like I wrote in the introduction of the show, what if we cannot solve all these things? What if we cannot really find out what's going to happen to us? What if we stay in this state of uncertainty? What happens? Well, for now we will witness that what truly happens as of this moment is art resides in us. So without further ado, maybe we can open the gallery doors now, turning it over to Oliver Ramos, who is in the actual space to tour us. Oliver.
Happy New Year! So si Oliver nandito. Open natin yung gallery. No, congratulations sa mga kasama natin. Yep.
Salamat. Congratulations.
Dito na ako mag-start.
Kaya... So there are the works of Kelvin Taol, Dodi Bergornia, Kim De Buncho. Yeah, on this wall. This is the rightmost wall. Then the rest of the artworks. So this show is mounted at the second floor of the urban turf section of UP Town Center along Katipunan Avenue. We can schedule viewing time soon when the cases hopefully dies down. The works of the Mad Machine here. Okay, this is the leftmost wall. See the works of Jade Kakuan and Little Wing Luna here. These are the works of Abby Angeles. And then the works by April Salva and Jano Mendoza. On the left side here, upper left part, are works by Jules Gomez. The drawings are by Oliver Ramos. And then right here on the lower left are the works of Francis Alencayon. Thank you, Teacher Oliver. Maybe we can do one more round of the macro view of the gallery space. Funny that I hope we can actually see the works, but then the zooming in and zooming out suffice in this virtual experience. I can already imagine that we're right in front of the artworks. How crazy is this in season of the pandemic? Funny. Um, yeah. So as you can see, the works in this exhibit are in uniform sizes. So everybody, all the artists did artworks the size of 10 by 10 inches. So they're squared, they're small, they're bite sized, and the idea is the size encourages spontaneity. And it being small also required some contemplation on what to put in a 10 by 10 inches space canvas. Yeah. So there. Interesting works by Wing Luna.
Gusto ko itong portrait na to.
Yes. I I actually assume they are self-portraits. They haven't asked artists. So these are works by Jade. The play of prints and also materials and a mix of techniques too. And also the color palette. Ayan. May pruweba na three-dimensional yung work.
With the beads.
There are beads there. Cool. Okay. So we can now take time to get to know more about the artists who participated in this show. No? Again, this is another installment of a Malady of sorts. Pre-pandemic, the vMEME Contemporary Art Gallery organizes the Malady of sorts every year, or sometimes even twice a year. No, it gathers a group of artists who will work on supposedly an open theme show, but because we say it's open theme, it at the same time questions what open theme is about and intellectualizes the idea of not being focused by a theme that ends up with a theme. So for today, you will see that, no, as we take a look at the artworks of individual artists, you will notice that there is actually a theme running from work to work, from one artist to another. So maybe now we can share a screen, Tintin, so that the viewers can take a look at the works closely. And Tintin and Jade are here to tell you more about the participating artists.
Okay, so first with our uh, participating artists, so we have the works here by Abby Angeles. So uh, Abby Angeles is an artist and owner of Beach House Creatives, a graphic design agency that caters primarily to world-class hotels, resorts, and restaurants. So she graduated with a degree in fine arts, major in advertising design from the College of Holy Spirit in 2003, and has since balanced her corporate design projects with her passion for painting. Her love for travel and photography resulted to a body of work in portraiture and landscape painting. As her practice progresses parallel to her breakaway from external inspirations and instead from internal, emotional conflicts from personal traumas and experiences, her style develops to spontaneous expressions, exploring distortions, abstractions, and other explorations. that furthers her creation from what was comfortable. In this show, her pieces talk about discomfort while celebrating the female form with all its perfections, imperfections, and the push and pull of both. So, following, okay. So we have Francis Alincayon's work. So Francis Alincayon, a self-taught artist from Baguio who apprenticed under Art Lozano, focuses on what he sees at the subconscious of society. So the basic drives and impulses which fuel our motives and our actions in relation to the world we live in. An environmentalist at heart, he uses art to provide perspective and with the hopes of helping society evolve into something better. His works takes us to dreamscape where our cosmopolitan realities and memories merge with imaginings of groundedness, the communal, the tribal, and the literary all into one. Okay, so we have here.
We move on to the works of Dolly Begonia.
So we have here Dodi Bergonia. Dodi is an emerging artist from Baguio. As a student, he participated in a number of art events in the north while beginning a presence in online platforms to engage with art enthusiasts with Audi as his byline. His growing body of works is both an expression of experiential and emotional insights, as well as an exploration of therapeutic potential of art production as a relief from stress and other tensions. Aside from a passionate pursuit of his traditional visual art practice, Dodi is also produces graphic design and graphic arts for more project direct endeavors. His works for his show touches on how presence of life keeps us sane, functional, and still hopeful.
We have next is works. Okay, so here we have works by Kimberly Andy Buncho. So Kimberly Andy Buncho is a painter, comics illustrator, graphic design, and art teacher, strongly influenced by both Western and manga style illustrations. Her paintings incorporate comic illustration into realistic painting. Her series, Fantasy Maidens, explores the ideas of femininity and strength in juxtapositions of women's images and visual metaphors. As an independent comic artist, Kim has published some of her original works as well as published comic strips in a major broadsheet in the country. Her works in the show are reimaginations of pandemic life, a play between the real and the fantastic. We have here.
Now here we have Tintin Elbow. Hi Tintin, I'm gonna read yours. Tintin is a Cavite-based artist and raised by a Buddhist family. Tintin Elbow started her journey on art through pastels and pencils, turned to photography in her early school days and came full circle to painting in recent years. A drafting graduate from Mulyo, Amang Rodriguez Institute of Science and Technology, Cavite campus, her her expertise ranges from traditional fine arts to technical renderings. An art teacher and exhibiting artist. Most of her works are currently done in ink, watercolor, and gouache, with a heavy influence of book illustrations and animation. Her works for this show reconstructs game cards in a fashion that urges us to think about the relationship of autonomy, power, and love.
So next, we have works from Laramie Espadero. So Laramie started their art education at a young age in an arts academy abroad and since then exposed herself to literature and visual storytelling, recently traversing a full-time artistic path. She is defining her artistic voice through collaborations with art collectives, engagement in art pedagogy, and interdisciplinary art expressions. Her works explore a darker Gothic style filled with surrealism and deep symbolism, taking inspirations from the Roman Catholic faith and life's hardships, expressing all of these stories of vitality to the production of visually strong works. Her works in this show are dreamy assemblages of icons and symbols that talk about faith, life, death, movement, stillness, past, present, and other dichotomies and their many in-betweens. So, okay, we have works from Laramie. Then, next is we have works from Jade Gakuan. Okay, now Jade, Jade Gakuan. So Jade Gakuan is a fine arts graduate cum laude from Far Eastern University. She explores mixed media like watercolor, acrylic painting, and pen. So influenced by artists like Ai Weiwei, Tracy Emin, and Yayoi Kusama. Most of her art focuses on the feminine illustrations in a process-based method of forming blank spaces into imaginative visual journals. She uses nostalgic references to patterns from the weaving and the tattoos of her roots from the northern part of Luzon. Apart from her intermediate visual art practice, Jade also has a large portfolio of graphic design as well as expansive exhibitions design and exhibit management accomplishments. In this exhibit, Jade continues to trace her northern roots while exploring material, styles, and techniques for contemporary expressions. We have you next.
So next we have Jules Gomez. Hi, Jules. Okay, Jules is one of the many passionate impasto artists of today. What separates her from others is the vividness of the meanings behind her paintings. Her palette usually consists of primary colors that is very reminiscent of Van Gogh's style, which she has learned, adopted, and added to her own touch, giving her audience a feeling of food of thought. For this show, her pieces illustrate that the element of texture can in itself be the message. Textures become both the form and the content. With apparent influence from indigenous practices, her works lead us to revisit the sophistication of primitive form, however beautifully contradicting that may be.
So, okay, next. So we have works from Little Wing Luna. So Little Wing Luna is a multi-form artist producing street photographs and paintings on a daily basis. So her works are unapologetic, free and yet authentic, and reflect many layers of being and breaking free from being a woman in contemporary Manila. She first exhibited with vMEME Contemporary in 2012 with the well-received show Chasing the Auditions, where he presented documentary and street photography with fellow artist Joe A. Santos. While more popularly known for her work in the photography, most especially by her Off the Work series. So Wing crossed over the other side of visual arts in her first exhibit of paintings called Tomelo o Dehelo, Take It or Leave It. The series speaks of her personality, a heavy influence of Kalo, and her unapologetic stance on her life. Live with art. So fun, liquor, and rock and roll. In this exhibit, she presents small works that play on incorporating art in daily life. So lockdown or not, in and in your face fashion, take it or leave it.
So next we have here Jana Charlene Mendoza. So Jana is from Angono Rizal with bachelor's degree in fine arts, major in advertising from University of Rizal System Angono. observant and receptive to inspiration around her. She frequents galleries, artist studios, and museums to get her creative flow going. Explorative and experimental, Jana continues to enhance her skills by trying numerous techniques from doodling to painting. Since she tries her hand on different art styles, her works are fusion of various forms and techniques. In this exhibit, her pieces are dreamy renditions of florals using painterly medium and a modern background.
So next, we have works from Roslyn Mendoza. So Roslyn Mendoza is a self-taught artist based in Cavite. So she started drawing paper dolls and their clothes at the age of 7, dreaming to be a wedding gown designer and a flower shop owner when she's older. Uh, and she came across watercolor painting, fell in love with the medium, and has since been painting all the things she liked, the things she's scared of, the things she felt and experienced, and all the things in between that mattered in and about her life. Her works in this exhibit show the spontaneity of her process resulting to snippets of everyday true life pieces. So these paintings are quietly discussing what it means to exist in current times in the company of objects. So next
Next, we have Rex Mejila, is a Cavite-based artist and a key mover of some art organizations such as Guhit Penas and XAPHM, and conducted art events and exhibits with them. Work, Working as themes designer of Huawei and information designer of YGG Philippines. Wow. She also dedicates time to paint her thoughts. Her round-the-clock series focus on the things most of us overdid during the span of the pandemic. A love-hate relationship between doing our crafts, organizing our thoughts, and overcoming our fears.
So next, we have works from Oliver Aberramos. So Oliver Aberramos, a graduate of fine arts from the University of Santo Tomas. So Oliver produced artworks that gained notice from the staple institutions of great repute. So Art Associations of the Philippines, Metro Bank, Art and Design Competition, Philippine Arts Award, and among others. So his paintings frequented galleries, museum, and art spaces in the metro, and yet Oliver's visibility in the art scene is only the tip of the iceberg in terms of his practice. So his works and pedagogy are both extensive and expansive for the past few decades. Oliver is currently a senior teacher at the Young Artist Studio and an independent advocate of art alongside non-government organizations. So his work in this work are samplings of obsessive dedication to daily life. So the people around him and his pen and paper.
So next, here we have April Salva. April Salva is a drifter. She never worked fully time on a single job. The first project she ever did after graduating from her fine arts degree was to create a butterfly mural for a nearby clothing store. After that, she worked on various jobs and projects, assisted in the Metropolitan Museum, did all kinds of digital illustrations for clients, some portrait paintings here and there, and so on. Her longest gig is working on backgrounds for a local animation studio. The projects that she is most proud of are the ones that were made from children, like illustrating a children's book and concept design for online commercial for kids. What remained consistent in her work is that the vibrant colors that she also uses in her paintings. Her watercolor works creates children's book illustration style that is whimsical and pretty. But her paintings are not just for children's consumption, for she uses her paintings to explore her intrapersonal musings or to try to make sense of with all the personal ramblings inside her head. Her illustrations for this exhibit visually expound all this as well as bring in a sense of curiosity for the mundane.
So next we have works from Kelvin Taol. Happy birthday, teacher Kelvin.
Happy birthday! Shout out.
So Kelvin Taal. So Kelvin is a graduate of arts education from the Technological University of the Philippines, a licensed educator and an art teacher at the Young Artist Studio. His art practice includes portraiture and digital art, focusing on human interests and personal identities. Adept in a number of art media, his graphite and charcoal works express an utter mimicry of reality, while his paintings are influenced by contemporary surrealism, juxtapositions of archetypes, and experimentations of both. His works in this show experiments on abstract expressions, a breakaway from realism, yet an innovation to a newer kind of visual articulation. Again, happy birthday, Teacher Kelvin.
Happy birthday, happy birthday!
So next we have works from Mad Machine.
The Mad Machine. So the Mad Machine is a multidisciplinary artist from Busasong venturing into painting, music, murals, and tattoo artists. His fascination of octopus and his tentacles leads him to use his as a subject more on his artworks, a seeming exploration of intelligence vis-a-vis fluidity. A hard worker who sent himself to school, he aspires to inspire younger generation and takes time to volunteer for organizations like Korean Community and Iam Pasajero, I Am Pasajero, where he organized fundraising projects. In line with his desire to leave a legacy, his works in this show cleverly explores youthfulness and wit.
So we all have the backgrounds.
That all. Thank
Yay!
you, Jade and Carol. May I request that we go back to the first one? I'd like to take
The
the
first one.
opportunity to share my thoughts on these beautiful pieces. Can we again share the screen from,
Teacher Oliver is on the gallery.
or maybe the works. Okay.
Yeah.
So with this work by Abby Angeles, I've been following her works since maybe 2015. No, I see her works on social media, and they've all been human interest realistically rendered. So I'm very surprised and happy to see that her works for this show are not um, classicist, no, in style. I can see the exploration in technique, in distortions. There are a lot of new things happening here with the works of Abby Ang. I'm excited to get to talk to her so that she can explain how so. No, I'm very sure that there's a deeper reason into that. When artists break away from their comfort zone, from what they're used to doing, it's very likely that there is a deeper, thoughtful meaning to it. No, I can see here the discomfort in all of the persona we see in these paintings. No, the discomfort is actually beautiful because it's realistic, it's truthful. It tells us about how we feel right at this very moment. So that's Abby Angeles. Can we move on to the next one? Okay. So one of my favorite recent discoveries is the artist Francis Alencayon from Baguio. As always, his works are, no, there's a lot going on in his works, and it always is a combination of the cosmopolitan and also the rural, also the tribal, yung ganon. Everything all at once, happening all at once, all in one. And with each work, your eyes will really travel to look for the symbols, no, and also the use of space is very interesting for me. with this particular work, it reminds me of my thoughts, no? Like on a second to second, minute to minute basis, our brains actually look like this. That's how that's how these works connect to me. It's like an illustration of how we all think right now. So that's Francis Alencayon. Next, okay. Dodie's works here are super heartwarming. Like, I'm sure everybody can relate that since the start of the pandemic, we had the chance to spend time 24/7 with our best friends, no? Our dogs, our pets, our cats, di ba? Fishes, ganyan. And it might sound like it's just an ordinary thing to happen, but then, like me, for instance, the company of my pets nowadays really keep me sane. Like it's a gift. It's a gift that we receive every day. No, I'm hoping that we all are also gifts to our pets. No? I think this is something that most people can relate with. So that's Dodi Bregornia, another artist from Baguio. Congratulations, Dodi. So these are works by Kimberly De Buncho. Well, as you can see, the style of Kim is yung Eastern illustration, no? But very contemporary with the use of colors. You can see bright colors here. There are magentas, there are teals, lime, ganyan. Ganun ka-strong yung colors niya. But what I find particularly moving in these works, however happy the colors are, there's something moving, something melancholic about the works. No, you can see the prints in the face mask are super happy, super cute prints. No, also parang it's a celebration of the little things, the mundane, the ordinary things. Yung eating dessert, eating your meal, drinking your milkshake or something. Cotton candy, yung ganon. It's a fantastic rendition of what we actually experience right now. Now we go out, and for me, it feels like I am really in a fantasy, walking the streets, doing what used to be ordinary, like drinking my coffee, buying my dessert. But then it feels like we are characters in a movie, characters in an anime. So that's how that's how these works connect to me. That's Kimberly De Buncho. I look forward to more from you, teacher Kim. So next, congratulations, Kim. This is a set by Tintin Elbow. So as you can see, it's it's after illustrations of game cards, no, yung baraha. But what I find moving about these works is she covered the faces, no, and very geometric yung illustration. Aside from that, she retained the colors but changed the patterns. And I find that there's something very political about this, no? When you see images of the game cards, particularly these sets of cards, no, yung king and queen. Of course, it talks about power, of authority. But then the works by Tintin reverses that, no? Inserts anonymity into the images of authority, and at the same time inserts patterns, no? Patterns that can direct us into thinking. Some of these patterns look to me like arrows, but some are florals, some are ethnic, some also are like a movie strip to me. So there's a lot going on here, but ultimately I feel like it's a play between power, authority, and anonymity, which is very timely nowadays that we're facing the pandemic. There is a surge going on, and there's chaos. It's chaotic how we handle this in this country. So thank you for this, Tintin. Next will be the works of Laramie Espadero, which has always struck me with the surrealism I can see from it. And these works are not only like an assemblage of certain things, no? You can see the laurel leaf, and then the face covered mouth, also yung wings of the hawk, and then the eyes that's so fierce, ganyan. It's an assemblage of several things that are iconic and symbolic. Like I can refer to some stories or maybe folktale, or maybe even biblical references that talks about this. And in essence, it gives us an allegory of these things, so of the many things we read, the many things we think. And for me, this set shows dichotomies, no? Dichotomies nga ba? Maybe dichotomies, but also like certain polarities, no? Like faith and fate. Yung ganon, certainty and uncertainty, calm and then chaos. Like everything's here, no? Both polarities are here, and also the in-betweens. It encourages us to fill in the in-betweens. So thank you for that, Lara. Next one will be Jade's, and as expected, Jade explores her northern Luzon roots, no? Jade is from Nueva Ecija, and her works for the past 2 years are always explorations of prints, of human figures, earlier female figures, but now she is already exploring illustrations of male figures. But aside from that, in this set, Jade also pushed her boundary and included other materials. I can see an exploration of materials, of colors, and also the support. No, these are all done on canvas. No, these are all painted, but they actually look like drawings. So that's an exciting side also of Jade's exploration of this set in this work. Thank you, Jade, for that. And then the works of Jules Gomez surprised me, with the texture. And while I was looking at them, it really reminded me of the rituals from the islands, no? Yung coastal areas, the islands where there are rituals into preserving faces, etc. I'm not sure if that's how she meant it to be, but that reminded me of that. And with the texture, I cannot help but stare at them, no, in actuality. I really hope you can see all of these works in person. So when I saw them, what really stood out for me is the texture, and that it gave me the realization that maybe sometimes texture, which is an element of art, could be the message. No? So it's not only that the medium is the message, it could also be that the element itself is the message. And that's something beautiful for me. It gave me that beautiful thought that I can explore, and maybe Jules and I can further explore in the future. Thank you for this set, Jules. Next, and of course, as expected, these are the works of Little Wing Luna, also one of my favorite artists. Carefree, unapologetic, bahala kayo dyan, aesthetic. No? That's what I love about Wing's works. Bahala kayo dyan, aesthetic. She defies a lot of things. She defies all the rules of the elements, all of the techniques, the form, the material even, no? So she defies everything, and Wing actually represents that, no? The modern day female artist who just doesn't care. And that's the beauty of Wing's work, not only of her work, but of her personality. That's what she represents, yung carefree, free, basically, malayang paglikha. So as always, I love this set. My most favorite is the one on the lower left. So thank you for this, Wing. Next would be the works by Janet Charlene Mendoza. It's the first time for me to see her works. And what I find interesting is that there's a play of techniques here. That you can see the detailed doodles, but they look like doodles, but they're actually acrylic paintings. Then the background is a splash of color with a visible technique and blending. No, that's what's beautiful for me here in this set. We often see something that looks like this, but not quite, but with similar lines and texture, yung ganyan, no. But then this one is an actual painting, and then I can imagine worm's eye view. It's like I'm lying down on the ground, then I can see the sky from there. So that's interesting for me. the mixture of techniques and also the perspective, no, coming from the bottom, I feel. So thank you for this, Jana. I hope to meet you soon. Next would be an interesting set also. Okay. Medyo delay my internet. Okay. An interesting set by Roslyn Mendoza. This is also heartwarming for me. Like, personally, I wake up in the morning at a specific time, prepare my coffee, prepare my snacks in the morning at a specific time, and then proceed in my work. And then by noontime, also again, prepare my snack, prepare my lunch at the same time. The same goes after working in the afternoon. The evening will also be accompanied by snacks, by meals, etc. And it feels like the only constant nowadays for the past almost 2 years for all of us is um, snacks. Our meals, our snacks are the only constants, the only forevers we have, no? And it's very sentimental for me. And I value that. I value that I can imagine the artist staring at her, how do you call this again, guys? Yung hands at saka yan, yung, okay, I forgot.
Flat tops.
Flat tops. Tapos ano yan, yung bilog in a foil?
Yung chocolate cookies.
Yeah. Yung may marshmallow. Yeah. So I can imagine her staring at that and actually putting them together, laying them out in a flat lay like that, no? In between biting them. And then realizing that maybe it's something she can paint. And imagine how she painted that foil with all the folds, etc. of that. And similarly, if you look at the ones on the bottom, like this could be her lunch, no? So while she was taking lunch, she was staring at them, taking photos of her lunch as she eats them, spoonful at a time. I find amazing the obsession in that, the craziness in that. That's actually beautiful because it's inherent in all of us. That's how I eat my snacks. That's how I eat my lunch, basically. And also the ones in the middle showing her biting her cookies, chocolate covered cookies. Diba? It's the celebration of that portions of our life that could be the highlight of our day already, right now, in this setting. So thank you, Roslyn, for illustrating our craziness. Next one would be, may delay in my Okay. This one is set by Retz Merehilia. I love that there are wings in the human figures. And if you notice, yung wings niya are leave-outs, no? Are leave-outs. They're blank, diba? So imagine that, like looking at people in their sort of in their very intimate spaces. Kasi they're wearing their lounge clothes, eh. They're wearing socks, ganyan, mga nakapambahay, diba? And they have wings on them, but then the wings are blank. There's something very poetic about these works. No? We can also see the youthfulness of their attire, their outfits, diba? Pajamas, shirts, hoodies, etc. Something very familiar to all of us. No? But then, what if people have wings, but the wings are missing? No? Parang ganon yung nare-receive ko dito. Very poetic. We can write a novel out of this work. So thank you for that, Reds. I also hope to meet you soon when things are better. Hopefully within a month. And these are works by Oliver Abe Ramos. Again, still life drawings, done in contour style. No, it's just one go. No holding up the pen. It's just one go in a contour style drawing of what? Of the everyday. No, of of a sleeping baby, a sleeping child, of a bicycle, of hands, basically of a baby also. Objects at home, diba? So it for me is sentimental but also, ano ba? Not only experimental, but also stimulates the thought about what is important, what is contentment, what is excitement, what is awe. Should there be extraordinary stuff to keep you excited, to allow you to create, or the everyday, the people around you, the objects you have, are those enough for you to create? So thank you for that, Oliver. Also, thank you for taking us on a tour of the gallery. We do one again later. Okay. These are works by April Salva, which reminds us of our desks these days, di ba? Our sketch pads, our photographs, our calendar, our art materials, very familiar objects, no? And I like how she assembled all of it, and then repeatedly created works out of a desk. Diba? We can see that everything that's here that she painted are all available on her desk. No, and that's actually practically our life now, is in front of our desks. Like you for sure will know my personality based on what's on my desk. And you can probably look at your desk now, guys, di ba? Tignan natin yung mga table natin. That's practically you, di ba? And now, I love how April celebrates that, no? Um, like, juxtaposing the identity of a person by the objects she has on her table. Yung ganon. Beautiful. Gusto ko to lahat ng set na to. Thank you, April. I also hope to meet you soon. It's too bad that we are not able to gather. These works are by Kelvin Taol. Happy birthday again, Kelvin. So, aside from today being his birthday, these works are actually a surprising set for me, no? Because Kelvin is known for his realistic portraiture works, no, in graphite. But aside from this being done in acrylic, I can also see the exploration of composition. Now, the common theme in the paintings are yung eyeball, no? But then it also changes because there are parang samples of the eyeball as the nectar, the eyeball as here, yung at the palm, di ba? The eyeball hanging, the eyeball being caught, yung ganon. It's a play for me of what the eye represents, which is what? Vision, sight, di ba? What can we actually see? And how do we see? Do we see things as if we're in the middle of a flower, or do we see things as if we're hanging lang loosely, or do we see things from the palm of our hands, yung ganon. Something very poetic and also melodramatic. Surprising to Kelvin. So thank you, Kelvs. Looking forward to more of these kinds of works, Kelvin. Beautiful works. We have one more. This is the last one, no, Carol?
Yes.
So this is by the Mad Machine, who I also wish to meet someday. So the octopus, which I recently discovered, no, is a very intelligent creature, diba? So it's interesting that he uses the tentacles for this, and then the selection of objects, the very random, no. I can see merong skull, but then merong pipe, but then there's ice cream, and then there's coffee. There's what's in the middle. Cannot figure it out, but
Spray paint.
paint ba? And then there's the microphone, and then yung joystick, diba? And then a paintbrush, the bigger one, and then the peace sign, no? Random. I cannot figure out, as if in a puzzle, I cannot figure out the selection of objects. But then again, when we talk about knowledge, no, yung maybe the octopus as a symbol of knowledge, it goes overboard and then across the board and also unpredictable. So I love that about these works, and then I can separate them one by one and talk about them differently. If I select the one with the microphone, well, we can talk about intelligence in the voice, di ba? How we talk, what we say, how we communicate versus intelligence. When I talk about naman the one on the rightmost, the lower right, naman, the peace sign. So we can discuss maybe intelligence in terms of peace, di ba? Of order, yung ganon. You can follow how beautiful these pieces are. And if you want to look at them a little bit more, you can log on to www.vmemecontemporary.com, where all of these works are posted, so you can take a closer look. And then when we open the gallery again, hopefully if the situation allows us, you can see them in person. But for now, they can be seen at www.vmemecontemporary.com. So those works, no, nakakabusog yung, yung works. No? Nakakabusog the works. So thank you again to all the artists who joined the Malady of Sorts. And maybe before we separate, we can ask Oliver Ramos again to show us the space. Can we spotlight Oliver? While that's going on, again, the works in this show is in uniform size, 10 by 10 inches. A size that's easy to collect, easy to hang, easy to take care of also. Can we have a far angle of the walls, Oliver? Yeah. Again, the artworks in A Malady of Sorts are now mounted at vMEME's and Young Artist Studio space. At the second floor, the urban turf area of UP Town Center along Katipunan Avenue. Please watch out for our announcement as to when we can open this space. But for now, you can see the artworks at www.vmemecontemporary.com.
Yeah, the details.
The details done in brush, diba? Rendered by using a brush. There are meal plans pa pala there. Meal plans. Order forms.
Schedules.
Yeah.
Works.
Spray can siya. Spray can.
Spray can.
Quick can. Okay. Interesting din the framing of those works.
Yeah.
Kailan tayo magkape?
Oo nga, gusto ko na ng kape. Nice.
One less look.
Works by Miss Wing.
Hilit ubing yan.
Interesting colors by Jade.
Beads.
Yung beads, nag-hang sila. Maganda rin po.
Yeah, yung color palette.
Oo.
Sobrang
Very earthly tones.
some words.
Thank you, Ret.
Yeah. Nakakatuwa tong works ni EJ kasi nakita ko to sa personal eh. Sobrang linis.
Yeah, oo, ang linis.
Acrylic painting pa to. Linis. Prints.
Ganda. Kakagutom.
Hindi tayo. Let's eat lang.
Di pa tayo nag-lunch.
Oo nga. Ginawa natin ng lunch break eh.
Very nice.
Works by Teacher Oliver.
Oliver.
Wings, yeah.
Si Diwa, tsaka si Likha yung ano.
Nadudulas daw ang alikabok, sabi ni Kelvin.
Nadudulas ang alikabok.
So, ganda. Works ni Francis. Very nice. And then, the one...
Gusto ko makita ng personal eh, yung works ni Francis.
Francis, ano yung work niya eh. Basta maganda. Acrylic din kasi yon, so parang reds din, malinis.
Ito, grabe yung texture. I don't know how she
Tapos
the texture here.
Jules.
meron pa siyang
Feeling
dinating
ko
Miss
gusto
Abby
ko
na like,
mag-stay ng mukha ko sa pader kapag ganito yung ano.
makapal kasi talaga yung paint.
Sobrang
Really
kapal.
thick. Tapos meron pa yung dinating niya medyo wet pa yung iba.
Parang kasi siya
Sobrang thick.
yung nag-shrink, di ba may ganung ano, process na shrink ka ng heads. Yun yung naalala ko here. But then they're not scary.
Tapos, Miss Abby, yung mga mukha, meron silang mga facial expressions. Like, every face has facial expression. Nung natitigan ko siya, saka ko lang siya na-realize na meron siyang iba't ibang facial expression.
Wow, see? May another layer pa pala to that.
Yun o, may sad.
May sad, may happy, meron yung nakatingin lang, nakagano. So, maraming mga facial expressions yung yung gawa ni Jules. Nakadila.
I'm curious how she chose the background color in relation to the facial expression.
Yung moods colors to emotions.
Ito yung kay Francis. Manipis lang din yung kay Francis, pero mabigat yun eh. Like, every piece mabigat siya.
Nice. Thank you, Oliver, for doing this. It's as if we're there. Teacher Oliver, thank you. It's there.
Yay!
So, again, thank you, Teacher Oliver. Also, thank you to the artists who joined the Malady of Sorts. It's very unfortunate that we're not able to see you, that some of you are sick or having symptoms. We pray that all of you will get better and recover very soon. And then when things are better for all of us, just hang on. We will gather again. Our team will set up a gathering as soon as we can, and maybe another virtual event for all of us, because we're excited to meet you, hear what you think, what's the logic behind your works, how you think, how you feel, and maybe a connection can happen when we see each other eye to eye. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for the vMEME team also, and most especially to Carol and Jade and Oliver, Kelvin and Dodi and Kim. So thank you to everybody who joined us today, kahit alanganin the time. It's very challenging these days, no, with another surge and the more powerful, more contagious virus going around. So I hope everybody keeps safe, stay at home, stay hydrated, stay healthy, drink a lot of water, eat well, sleep well, so that we can together fight this virus. Let's stay hopeful and keep keeping, guys. Thank you, everyone. So for today, that's it. See you at the
Thank
gala.
you. Yay.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Congrats.
Also.